Hello and welcome to the 2014 preview of the Women's Paradise Jam Tournament. Just like all you college hoops fanatics in the territory, I'm so stoked that November is here because it's this time of year when one of the nation's premier Division I college basketball tournaments returns to the Virgin Islands, and you know I mean the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam. The women's tournament has always been the best one, and it brings so many talented teams from top conferences. They're just like top seeds all the time, and you know we're going to see some of them in March. And you know who we're going to see right now joining me on the desk once again for year 15, my boy Nels Hawkinson.
You're on top of your game.
Well, you know, you're here giving me the good juju.
There we go.
And it's year 15 of the Paradise Jam.
50th anniversary. Can you believe it?
I can. I actually can. I can feel it. I feel the 15th year.
I can feel a couple gray hairs coming in over the 15 years.
Not me.
No, you're looking good.
It's feeling like year 10 right now.
I was talking about me.
Welcome back home to the
you.
Virgin Islands.
Thank you.
And
it's awesome.
It's so happy to have you back and have this tournament back here. We've got the Island and Reef division to break down coming up. But before we do that, let's just take a stroll down memory lane of the Paradise Jam.
Memories like the corner of my mind. That's
it.
it? Yeah, no, I can go back. I don't want to go back sometimes, but we will go back. You know, anytime you build anything, start something, you know, it's a vision.
Yes.
It's you think it's going to work, but maybe it's not. And so we spent a couple years just researching, and there's some NCAA rules which allowed us to have, you know, Division I teams right here on St. Thomas. And so we started out, and you know, we had to deal with, you know, goats having eaten the grass, you know, around Edoracan. The planes were supposed to be bringing in the equipment, and they were stuck in customs in Puerto Rico. We didn't know how that works. We had to hire a charter plane to bring in the score table, so it looked, you know, at least reasonably familiar of a normal home game.
And UVI didn't even have a gym then. There was like a hangar there. Everybody remembers that.
There was a hangar there. It was kind of hanging around. So we used the Edoracan High School facility, and then partway through, it rained so hard, and it saturated the floor, and the water started coming up through the tartan floor that they had there. There was dead animals along the side of the roads. We're trying to move, and you know, one day one leg's up, 2 days later the second leg's up, and you know, we won't get into all the graphic detail, but it was crazy. The air conditioning broke on the you know, in the hotel, and just all those kinds of things that can go wrong, and they did. And we just you know, took a deep breath, says, you know what, you know, Martin Luther King will overcome. We overcame, and here we are in year 15.
Oh, you power through. I mean, so what you're saying is not only has Paradise Jam come a long way, but we've come a long way in the Virgin Islands as well.
I think we've come together. Yeah,
That's
this is it's the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam. It's not yours, mine, government's. It's
Absolutely.
all of ours,
It's all of ours.
And I think people feel that.
And the women's tournament is so exciting. People really look forward to it. I have very fond memories of this women's tournament. One of my favorite memories of the Paradise Jam women's tournament is giving Candace Parker her very first post-game interview coming off her redshirt year. She played her very first game here when they played Michigan State after they got spanked the year before in the tournament, and she came off the sidelines, and I got to interview her and Pat Summitt. Great thrill. Gino Ariama. We've had so many great teams, so many championship teams. Maryland. The list is endless.
No, you do, and you have that again, and it's amazing how the women's teams keep gravitating here. 7 of the 8 teams have been here before. You can only come once every 4 years. So they put it on their schedule. We're already booked for next year on the women's side, and have some teams already for 2016. So it's an event that, while it's expensive to come, this is on the top of everyone's list to try to get to, you know, once every 4 years. And we kind of try to keep it to, you know, the more of the premier teams, but I also like to let some up-and-comers, which we will talk about in this broadcast, you know, that have a shot to, you know, break or already in the top 25.
And you've got some new stuff coming along.
Oh, we love new stuff.
We got new stuff. We got new stuff.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to being back again. So
you know,
what do you got for
when
us?
you're through improving, you're through. You always can do a little better job or change things up. So we got this creation I call the Beat Zone. So we're going to, my graphic artist, Lindover Designs, has created the old back wall with a giant ocean and beach and palm trees and beach chairs and tiki huts and kids pools and all kinds of crazy stuff. So this is for my top 7 sponsors. They're going to get used as a corporate box. So they're going to be chilling and Lyman just entering the games.
To sponsor the Paradise Jam.
Absolutely. So all the women's games are on the internet. So as the people are watching from all over the world to to see what's going on. Those Virgin Islanders know how to get after it. They know how to party, and we might throw in some Johnny cakes. We might throw in some some pate, get a little mixture of some local cuisine. So it's gonna be really fun. We'll also have some interesting things. A selfie station. We have your picture taken with the big Paradise Jam backdrop. We'll also have the flip cars like they do in the States, where you buy a mattress here or furniture going out of business sale. We're going to have games tonight at the U.S. Virgin Islands. You'll see those along the road, and a few other surprises are in store for you.
Okay. Well, in store for you is a breakdown of all the women's teams coming up right here on the Paradise Jam preview show, the women's tournament. We're breaking it down, and I got Nels, and it's on. Don't go anywhere.
Paradise Jam is back. Queens of college basketball are back in paradise. Paradise Jam!
It's back. That's right. The Paradise Jam tournament is back, celebrating its 15th year in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the road to the Final Four starts right here in Paradise. The men's tournament kicks off at the UBI Sport and Fitness Center November 21st through the 24th. Watch top-ranked teams like Clemson, LSU, and Seton Hall. Check out our own UBI Bucks in an exhibition game on November 22nd. The women's tournament starts on November 27th through the 29th. Watch big-time matchups with ranked teams like Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. Tickets are available at Champs and the UBI bookstore. Tickets are $15 for adults, $10 for seniors, and $5 for children, high school students, UBI students with ID, and UBI staff. CBS Sports Network will broadcast on November 21st, 23rd, and 24th. For more information and game schedules, follow us on Twitter and Facebook, or log on to www.paradisejam.com. See you at the games. Welcome back to the 2014 Paradise Jam preview show. We're previewing the women's tournament. I've got Nels Hawkinson, President, Executive Director, founder of Basketball Travelers, and sire of the Paradise Jam tournament here in the Virgin Islands. We're breaking down the teams and giving you a look at the exciting tournament coming up. But before we get into it, Nels, I just want to talk a little bit about this tournament. The women's tournament is different than the men's in that it's not a bracket. So the coaches get an opportunity to really scout these teams out because they know who they're going to play ahead of time. And we're going to start with the Reef division. And first off, Oklahoma. But tell me about how that works. Why is it different in structure than it is for the men?
The reason being is if you have two separate brackets, you can have two teams from the ACC, you can have two teams from the Big East, you can have two teams from the SEC. And that's one reason why it's stronger than the men's field. We could do that for the men's field, but there's also a lot of teams can afford to come. A lot of the smaller women's schools don't necessarily have the budget to come, so we created it. And it was actually a real smart move years and years ago, 15 years, because we've always had great women's teams as we do this time. 5 out of the 8 were in the postseason last year. 5 out of the 8 have at least 3 to 5 starters back. So you're going to see some experienced basketball, and it still is the best women's basketball tournament until you get to March Madness.
Absolutely. And let's get into the first team we're going to talk about, which is Oklahoma. The Sooners are coming to the Paradise Jam. They're in the Reef division, and their first game is actually the second game of the Reef Division tournament. That's going to be against South Florida. What do you see from the Sooners coming into this tournament?
Sherry Cole's the head coach. She knows what she's doing. She's been there for 19 years. They are very young. They have 11 sophomores or freshmen on the team, but they've been to 15 straight NCAA postseason appearances from Oklahoma. That's getting it done. She's going to do it again. They're just that good. They were just 18 and 15 last year. One of her, but again, mostly babies, you know, that she's doing with, but still got the team to the postseason from a real strong Big 12 with teams like Baylor, and that's part of that. I mean,
conference.
and Oklahoma State. No, really, really, really good. So they're picked actually to finish 4th or 5th in their league. I think she's going to do a little bit better than that. I got to know a little bit more. She coached our USA women's team in the World University Games last summer.
Yes.
And I called my own number because I helped coordinate our USA team. So I actually did the game on ESPN between Australia and the US. They won by 1. Then we beat Russia 90-71. It was unbelievable. That was the first time since 1980 that the U.S. had a chance to play in Russia, where our Olympians weren't allowed because of the Olympics and Afghanistan thing. So she coached our women's team just last summer and did an incredible job, and got to know she's a wonderful, incredible lady, and she can coach it up. Yeah, it's great. 19 years at Oklahoma.
I mean, they're rebuilding just a bit. She's got her hands full in the Big 12. But one thing about playing in that conference, as the season wears on, I mean, we're talking 28, 30 games, you tend to get more competitive in that conference and really be able to, so anything can happen with these.
Yeah, know that the Sooners, and sooner or later they're going to get back into the Final Four.
Let's talk about Kentucky. Kentucky's women's team is coming down, and they are also in the Reef Division. They're going to kick off November 27th, 7 p.m., and they're going to play the Illini. How'd you get Kentucky to come down?
I've known Matthew since he was a director of basketball operations for Pat Summitt. He was like about 24 years of age, and he is a charmer. He's a Southern gentleman. I saw him play against Tennessee last year. It was incredible. They actually beat Tennessee for the first time on Tennessee's home court when I was there last January for the SEC game.
Not the Summit.
Yeah. So that was a tough one because I was kind of rooting for Tennessee at that time. But Matthew's got it going on. He's advanced to the NCAA tournament 5 years in a row at Kentucky, and he's been to the last 2 Sweet 16s. They're my favorite to win the Reef Division. They're 26-9 last year. Just 2 starters back, but man, they go up and down. They should actually be called really the Greyhounds because they really run. They press so much. You're going to see a lot of energy and effort from a well-disciplined basketball team.
And what a record. That is quite an accomplishment by Coach. Talk about job security. That is what that looks like. The Fighting Illini have come to the Paradise Jam in 2014. They are also in the Reef Division. They faced South Florida on the 28th at 9:15. And actually, they're going to play on the 27th. I'm sorry, at 7 p.m. They'll play Kentucky. The Illini, the Fighting Illini, are coming to the Paradise Jam.
Tough start for Illinois. Matt Boland's his third season.
Great start.
No, they were 9-21 last year, mostly because of a lot of injuries. His first year, he actually led them to the first postseason that Illinois had been in about 10 years. Matt's a personal friend for a long, long time. He does have 4 starters back, but he does have some of those injured. I'm not sure exactly how many are going to play. He's led by Ivory Crawford, who had about 14.5 points a game and 6 rebounds. An incredible coach. He's one of 5 coaches in America with the best win-loss record in the last 10 years. He's right up there with active coaches, right up there with with people like Gino. So he knows what he's doing, and he's going to coach them up the best he can. But I don't see them beating Kentucky in that first game.
Well, speaking of underdogs, I don't see South Florida exactly getting over on Oklahoma in their first game, which is also on the 27th, 9:15. That is going to be a steep climb for that team.
It is, but he also, they're called the Bulls, and I call it, they'll have the running of the Bulls here in St. Thomas because they get up and down. They were 23-13 last year. They do have 3 starters back. Very charismatic and an energetic coach. He's stand up and you'll learn some new dance moves from him coaching on this sidelines. His name's Jose Fernandez. He has lots of foreigners. He's filled with foreigners. I mean, they should be my all Rand McNally team. They have a player from Sweden, 3 from Spain. They have somebody from Portugal and somebody from Denmark. I'm not sure what language he speaks in the huddle, but his All-American candidate, Courtney Williams, she's a stud. He's been to the postseason 10 of the last years, has just 2 seniors. So this might not be his best year, but it's still going to be a good year.
It's interesting to think how they use coming to the Paradise Jam as a recruiting tool. These games and teams are booked several years out. They know they're coming. I can just imagine going to a player from Sweden and Denmark and saying, hey, how'd you like to spend Thanksgiving in the tropics?
It could be a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely a lot worse. We'll be right back with more with Nels Hawkinson. We'll be breaking down more teams from the Paradise Jam. And coming up, we have Coach Audra Smith. She's head coach of the Crimson Tigers from Clemson, actually, not the Crimson Tigers, the Clemson Tigers. And she's going to be with us in the studio on the phone when we come back. Stay with us. You're watching the Paradise Jam Preview Show.
Jam is back. Queens of college basketball are back in paradise. Paradise Jam!
Welcome back to the Paradise Jam Women's Preview Show. Of course, I'm joined by Nels Hawkinson, as usual. On the line, as promised, we have Coach Audra Smith. She's the head coach of the Clemson Tigers women's basketball team. They're coming down to the Virgin Islands with the entire Clemson Tiger squad. Coach Smith, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join us here on the preview show. So you guys are getting ready to come down to the Virgin Islands, and are the girls excited yet? They're coming to Paradise.
Oh, my goodness. They are very excited. As I was mentioning earlier, I have to keep them focused on the first couple of games we have before we come to you guys. They're already thinking packing for the Virgin Islands and, you know, snorkeling and all this stuff. I'm like, hey, ladies, let's just keep it even chill for now. We're going to be going soon, but let's take care of business here at home first.
And Nels, this Clemson program has been to the Virgin Islands before for the Paradise Jam. How exciting is it to get the men's and women's teams here and have Coach Audra bring her squad down to play?
Well, first of all, having an ACC team is big. You know, they're one of the top two, conferences in the country, in women's basketball, and it's regional. And so people that that'll be really want to watching we'll have it on a simulcast, and so they'll be watching that, listening to radio. So that's pretty important, and also for tourism. A lot of people from that whole greater Atlanta, South Carolina area come down here, and so this is a great to have a team like Clemson, for those reasons as well.
Coach Smith, I want to talk to you a bit about your program coming into the season now. You guys have played a couple of preseason games, a couple of exhibitions. You're in your second year here with the Clemson Tigers. How is your squad shaping up? You have a very young team. Only 3 of them are upperclassmen. You have 2 seniors and a junior. Is that right?
That's correct. Well, things are shaping up pretty nicely. We have quite a few freshmen. We have 9 freshmen and a junior college player, in addition to our 4 returners. And it's going really well. I was pleased in our first 2 exhibition games. The first exhibition game was one where we could really get the jitters out and everyone had an opportunity to play a significant amount of minutes. The second exhibition game was a lot more challenging for us. We played a much more athletic team, a quicker team, and it presented some challenges for us, which was really good, and we needed that test early on.
I want to talk a bit about Nikki Dixon. She's one of your power go-to people. She's your senior. She's one of the 3 veterans. How are you going to look to her this season to really bring these young freshmen along? And is that a role she's comfortable in stepping into this year?
Oh, yes, Monica, definitely. That's a role that she's definitely comfortable in terms of leadership. And Nikki's a very, very bright young lady, and she's a very competitive player as well. It was interesting. I was watching film, just a couple of days ago on the team that we're playing this Friday that we played last year, and Nikki is a totally different player this season than she was last year. Last year she was a little bit uncomfortable out there, getting to know my system and my philosophy, and now she's really starting to come into her own, not only on the basketball court but at leadership as well. Just to give you an example, she and Chelsea Lindsay, my point guard, my senior point guard, they got the team together 2 days ago and brought her to their room, and they watched film on the team we're playing on Friday, and they all did a scouting report together.
Wow.
And that's huge.
That's maturity.
I was blown away. I mean, I literally got 14 pages of everyone's input in terms of what we need, keys to win, personnel, top players. I mean, just an unbelievable scouting report. And I was just like, as a coach, that's what you want. And when you get that, it's almost like, well, what do I say? And of course I gave them huge kudos for doing that and coming together and watching that together, because that's a sign of unity, a sign of team chemistry, a sign that they're all on the same page, and they all want to win. And that's the biggest part. They want to win. I've got a competitive group of young ladies. That's the kind of leadership coaches just pray for.
Nels, you've always done a great job, Basketball Travelers, of putting the Paradise Jam women's tournament together. It's always been the premier tournament for early season college basketball. You've got the ACC facing up with Ohio State is the first team that the Clemson Tigers are going to face this season.
Yeah, there are no easy ones. You know,
No.
the beautiful thing about this event, it is a neutral site. And so not one program has the advantage of the fans and the band and the cheerleaders. So it's a really good early indication of kind of where teams are. They're kind of thrown in the fire early. You know, I know some coaches are a little nervous because some are beat up. You know, they're injured and they're not as strong as they might be. But it's an exciting time. I have a question for you, Audra. So a lot of people need to know, and first of all, I appreciate the enthusiasm in your voice. I hear the excitement. I hear the coach and cheerleader coming out in you, and it's evident, and the people listening to the broadcast now, the same thing. But so you played at Virginia. You're at 3 Final Fours. A lot of coaches I've seen over the years, I've been doing this a long time, have a hard problem as former players becoming coaches because the athletes that you have don't quite get it like you thought you got it. How do you convey what you learned as a player now to coach to the players that you have now?
I mean, it's been great. I mean, I have evolved over the years as a coach. You know, I was, after my 4 years at UVA and 3 Final Fours, I went back to coaching the legendary Debbie Ryan for 10 years, from 94 to 2004, and thought I knew everything, you know, as a coach. And then became a head coach, you know, at UAB. I was there for 9 years. And thought I knew everything. But then I came to Clemson and realized, hey, you don't know a whole lot. You still have a lot of growing to do. So I do rely on my past experience to help me in terms of relating to the players, you know, in terms of just, you know, the importance of taking advantage of the present. And that was one of the things with me as a player is that, you know, I kept, you know, before I knew it, I was like, you know, I can do this tomorrow. I'll make this up tomorrow or the next day or next month. And before I knew it, I was a 4th year. I was a senior. And I was graduating. And so that's the biggest thing that I try to preach to the players is that don't let a day go by that you don't give 100%. You can't get that day back. And when it comes in practice and in game time, give it everything that you have and enjoy the experience. Because everyone doesn't have the experience of being a Division I collegiate athlete. And that's a blessing in itself. So my biggest thing is I try to, you know, go back to the do's and the don'ts, the things that I did when I was in college that were, you know, on the basketball court that were positive, and the mistakes that I made. And let them understand and know that I know they're going to make mistakes, but you have to learn from your mistakes and growth. And growth and maturity is a huge part of being a college basketball player.
Well, any coaches that want to be coaches out there, that's good wisdom for you. So I hope they're listening and will apply what you've just said. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Audra Smith, she's the head coach of the Clemson Tigers women's basketball program. You will see them here at the Paradise Jam when they take on Ohio State in the Island Division on November 27th. Thank you so much, Coach, for joining us.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What a wonderful coach. What a great lady. She seems really excited to get down to the Virgin Islands.
You know, she's a class act. She really is. She's a lot of fun. She's doing something that she loves and has passion about. She's a big-time program and ready to get the Clemson Tigers rolling.
Well, we're ready to keep rolling as well. We'll be right back with more from the Paradise Jam Women's Preview Show. Don't go away. I got Nels. It's back. That's right. The Paradise Jam Tournament is back, celebrating its 15th year in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the road to the Final Four starts right here in Paradise. The men's tournament kicks off at the UBI Sport and Fitness Center November 21st through the 24th. Watch top-ranked teams like Clemson, LSU, and Seton Hall. Check out our own UBI Bucks in an exhibition game on November 22nd. The women's tournament starts on November 27th through the 29th. Watch big-time matchups with ranked teams like Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. Tickets are available at Champs and the UBI bookstore. Tickets are $15 for adults, $10 for seniors, and $5 for children, high school students, UBI students with ID, and UBI staff. CBS Sports Network will broadcast on November 21st, 23rd, and 24th. For more information and game schedules, follow us on Twitter and Facebook or log on to www.paradisejam.com. See you at the games. Welcome back to the Paradise Jam Preview Show. We're breaking down the women's tournament this year. Alongside Nels Hawkinson, I'm Monyka Johnigan, and if you're just joining us, you're missing out on all the fun. And we've got about 3 teams to go. We just heard from Coach Audra Smith from Clemson. She's super excited to come down here. They're going to bring their entire basketball program down here with the men's and women. We're looking forward to that. But now it's time to talk about Wichita State.
Yeah, they're not going to shock anybody. They're the shockers. The men's
They are
program
the
went
shock.
undefeated all last year
That's
until they got in the
right.
NCAAs. The women are almost as good. They're 26-7. They've returned 4 starters. They were top 30. Wichita State women's basketball. Are you kidding me? Been to back-to-back
They
NCAA
can ball.
tournaments. I mean, Jody Adams in her 7th year, Wichita State. She played for the legendary Pat Summitt, as about 20 some other coaches have scattered across the country. They are really, really, really good. I mean, they have a chance to win this Island Division. I like them a lot.
You know who else is really, really good and probably really, really unknown, except also for their men's team, who was like the huge Cinderella a few years. Florida Gulf Coast, that's a good squad. That's a well-coached team. They win in that small conference of theirs, and they could be dangerous in this Island Division.
Yeah, I call them my Lil Wayne team, all right? Because they're all like 13 players under 6 feet tall. I mean, if they were traveling by bus somewhere, not to hear you got to fly, they would think they're like the golf team or something, because they would, they're like, the basketball team, really? No. Coach Carl Smesko, he was here just a couple years ago. He returns 4 starters back from last year's team. That's 26-8. He actually turned down the Indiana job. The Indiana job came open this last fall, and he turned that down. He's turned many jobs down. He loves it. It's a great program. It's a top 25 program. Florida Gulf Coast has only been Division I for like about 7 years, and or not even that. No,
not even that.
no,
2011 was when they
it's
became
crazy.
Division I eligible, and they are spanking people all up and down that conference. And this team, you're right, they're small. They're like the, undersized overachievers of their conference.
Kind of like the Oompa Loompas of the Paradise Jam, so to
right.
speak. Yeah, no,
But
they're
they get it
good.
done.
Yeah, they'll look forward to watching
That
them.
factory's churning out some wins. Okay, let's talk about the Ohio State. The Buckeyes are coming down, and they've got a little bit of sad news. I'm sorry, I feel really bad for Coach McGruff. Kiana Holland is a guard that came over from Duke University. She was going to be eligible to play this year. She got hurt in the preseason with an ACL injury. That's really going to hurt them. They need her, but Ohio State is still a very good team. Great program.
Yeah, they are. Last year, he's just trying to rebuild this. He's from Ohio. He's been at Notre Dame as an assistant. He was the head coach at Xavier that led him to some Final Fours. He was out at Washington, my hometown, up in Seattle, coaching up. Did great, but when Ohio State came calling, he had to take it because his wife and him are from there, and he's getting that program back to what it used to be. Last year was his first year. He's had so many injuries, and so they're not going to be as good as I would like him to be, or he'd like him to be this particular year. But it's a huge school, 57,000 people. It's like everybody in St. Croix going to one school.
And you don't say no to the Buckeyes when they come
You
calling.
can't.
Don't. That's what a lot of fans here too. So I know we got to go. We could do this all night long, but we do have to wrap it up. And before we do, we want to thank everyone for sponsoring the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam over the years and this year. Nels, tell them who the people are.
Yeah, we do. First of all, we want to thank tourism. They're unbelievable. Virgin Islands Tourism and the government, they've been incredible to work with. We couldn't do it without you. Yep. Starting out my bronze sponsors, we're going to go with Bellows, VI, Choice VI, Coral World, Havana Blue, SmartNet, Virgin Beverages, Bronze Plus, H. Reese, Ballerina Jewelers, Caribbean Screen, Shelley Dior Designs, Pizza Hut, Schneider Regional Medical Center, Tropic Tours, Tutu Park, VI Port Authority, Bank of Popular, Broadband VI, Business World, Coca-Cola, Comprehensive Orthopedic Global, Daily News, Dial Rent-to-Own, Home Depot, International Capital Management, Mahogany Run, Golf Course, Red Hook Agencies, U.S. Marine Corps, Whiteco, Ava's Divide, CBS TV. Right here, Innovative, Furniture Giant, MDM Inc., 2K Sports, Belonga Bay, Marriott, Nike, and again, back to tourism and our other title sponsor, Easy Bonds.
And thank you for watching the Paradise Jam preview show. This is the women's tournament preview. Get out there and see the games. They start on the 27th. This is Nels Hawkinson. I'm Monyka Johnigan. Thanks for being with us. And yeah, can I get some 2K Sports games this year?
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Oh, here we go. He's
started from the bottom, now the teams are coming here. Yeah, started from the bottom, now we're here. Yep. Started from the bottom, and all the teams will be here. Yeah.
Yo. The place is here, the time is now. On top of the world and I can't come down. No, I can't come down. This is how it feels to stand on the clouds. The place is here, the time is now. On top of the